Awesome. And also for this presentation today, not only will be focusing on Google Maps, but we are targeting this specifically for HVAC, plumbing, and home services businesses, which is what our primary focus is at Polianna. And I'll be sharing a few case studies, what we're seeing is working, and also what you should not do when it comes to your Google Maps, because we've been seeing a whole lot of that recently. All right. And so before we hop into Google Maps, I did want to share that there is a bigger picture in terms of your online presence. And so we're not going to be going over all of the components that you see on this screen today. This is what we call our digital dominance method, but there is a lot that you can do when it comes to maximizing your flow for calls, leads, and profitability. So we're talking about Google Maps today, but there's other components. There's the broader SEO, there's pay-per-click. If you're familiar with local service ads, there's retargeting, there's paid online directories, there's repeat and referral business, which I'm sure many of you get already, pay-per-lead, your home advisor, Angie's List, paid media, as well as developing referral programs through gift cards, newsletters, and rewards programs. So, there's a complete slew of things we can focus on, but today, for this monthly webinar, we'll be focusing on Google Maps. Okay, and so before we begin, I also want to say that I love what one of my good friends, Chris of the Contractor Growth Network, has said. He's here not to entertain, he's here to educate. And so if you're on this webinar today, you're here to learn tactical things that you can implement in your business to increase your lead flow. Right, for many of you contractors, we are moving out of the busy season, moving into the shoulder parts of the year when things get a little bit slower. And so I really want to ask for your attention. So turn off your cell phones, turn off social media. I know that some people might be moving and can only listen to audio, but as much as possible, I want you to focus, because this is what learning the things that we're going to be talking about in today's webinar is what is going to impact your online presence and improve your lead flow for those times when it might be slower, and also maximize during the busy season. So the next 60 to 90 minutes, depending on questions, this can very drastically change your business, like many of the businesses that we've worked together with. And so for the agenda for today, we have 4 big items that we're going to cover, and within each item, there's going to be a set of topics. But the 4 items are going to be: number 1, what are the latest updates with the Google Map listing? There's been lots of changes over the past few months and over the past few years. In the past, there were 7 listings, we're down to 3, and there's been recent changes as well that we'll be discussing. Number 2, the 5 biggest issues that could be preventing you from ranking. You might have been working with an SEO company in the past. You might have done SEO yourself, and you might be wondering, why is it that we're not ranking the way that we actually think that we could be? We're going to go over some of those big issues. Number 3, we're going to go over a proven model for ranking in the 3-pack, and it's going to be split up into 2 parts. Number 1, if you're in a low to medium competition market, what can you do to rank on your own? And then after that, if you are in a medium to high competition market, what are some of the more advanced tactics that you can use to beat out the competition? So we'll be sharing that with you. And then number 4, what are some of the tools that you can use to systemize and automate the heavy lifting? Because myself, and like you are as well, you are a business owner. You are wearing many different hats in the business, whether you are a one-man shop or you're an operation of 40 to 50 people, wherever you are at, or maybe even bigger. You want to be able to focus on the things that deliver the highest amount of impact in your business. And so a lot of the things you can do that we're going to be talking about today can be done manually, but why not systemize and automate that heavy lifting? And we'll be going over a number of those tools for you today. So pretty excited for that. But yeah, so you might be wondering, who am I and why should you listen to me? You might have received an email from us, a call from us in the past. You might have received a letter, or maybe you might have seen us at one of the association events. But who I am, my name is John Victoria. I'm the owner of Polianna SEO. We are a digital marketing company founded in 2016. We started as an SEO company focusing on Google search and Google Maps, and we've expanded our services and also niched down into the home services space. Active member of ACA. We've worked with HVAC and plumbing businesses across the US and internationally. And so for us, it's really important to, not only be able to be at the forefront of our field, but to be engaged with people who are in our community. And that's all of you here today. And so a few of the home services businesses we've worked with, this is just a handful of them. DM Select Services, they're a company based out in Northern Virginia. They focus on heating, plumbing, cooling, also have a plumbing component. Doherty Plumbing, they are based in Virginia. Sugar Bear Plumbing, Equity Plumbing and Drain, Climate King, All Star Plumbing, Nova Exteriors, Bearder Brothers Roofing Restoration, companies all around the US who have achieved some pretty amazing results. And that's what we're going to be sharing with you today. Now, this information is not hearsay. It's not something that we read on a blog post. These are the insights of what we've gained working with clients for whether it be a handful of months, or for some of our clients, we've been working with them for a few years. And so these insights are, battle tested. These are things that we're using on a day-to-day basis for our clients. And, that's what you'll be getting today. And what do we do? What is our focus? Our mission is to triple the sales of 1,000 HVAC and plumbing companies all around the United States. And so for us, it's a big feat to do that. But for us, it's a matter of getting the right processes, working with the right partners, and getting the infrastructure in place to be able to help you guys to do that. And for us, we would be helping. We've been helping companies both in a free capacity, where we are having these educational webinars on a monthly basis, and also we do have some engagements with other folks, but we're not going to be talking about too much about that today. This is mainly going to be an education piece. Okay, so with all that said, let's open up with the question: do Google Maps matter? Right now with Google, there is a lot of changes. Google Maps, and if you're not familiar, Google Maps is this property here at the top. You see here, there is a map, and then you see 3 businesses underneath them. You see DM Select Services, you see Tim & Sons, BRK HVAC Care. And so Google Maps, you can see here, this is one of our clients, DM Select Services, from the previous page. You can see that they're ranking #1 for HVAC Burke, and this is Burke, Virginia, if you want to double check it. But what we've been finding is that for Google Maps, is it relevant? What we're finding is that 44% of clicks and calls are coming from this Google Maps listing. Below you see there's Yelp, you see there's some other websites that are popping up. You're probably also familiar with local service ads. There's paid ads that are taking up some space on the Google search engine. But even with all of that, Google Maps is generating a significant amount of clicks and calls. And so yes, they matter. Google Maps matter, and that's why you're here on today's webinar. And to give you a sense of what that looks like, here's some of the actual data from one of our clients, and this is DM Select Services that you saw earlier. So, in the past 6 months, from January to June, we tracked a total of 17,597 total calls to their business. And this is encompassing both offline leads. So offline leads meaning, people coming in through, seeing the phone number that's on their truck or on a billboard or in print materials. And then we're comparing that to Google Maps and online leads. So to give you a sense, so 17,000 total calls were the total call volume for the first 6 months of this year, 799 for just one of their Google Maps listing. And then in total, they had 7,658 online leads that came in through a phone call. And so this is pretty drastic. This is one of our clients that's doing really, really well. They have many service areas that they're focusing on, and they're expanding rapidly. And so the average of this, coming from their Google Maps and their organic listings, is about 40 phone calls a day, which is quite a lot. They have a call center, they have a fleet of trucks. So this isn't the typical result, but these methods of accomplishing these results. This is what we're talking about today. And this is just for the first 6 months of the year. And so, yes, Google Maps, it drives calls. And if you have the potential to rank not just one Google Maps listing, but multiple, you're going to be able to drive a tremendous amount of qualified traffic. I mean, you can do pay-per-click, you might be doing local service ads, you might be doing Google ads, but you can't just rely on pay-per-click alone, because the way that Google is changing, there's just so much placement. If you want to get a full result, you'll want to dominate the entire Google search engine. So if you can get Google ads, if you can get the LSA, get the Google Maps, and then get the organic listing, that's the comprehensive solution. And so in terms of changes, what has happened over the past few years? How is Google's search engine, what are some of the modifications that have been made? The first thing is that in the past, Google Maps used to have 7 results, and now they're down to 3. And so in the past, it was easier to get placement and have real estate on page 1 because there were more spots, but it's been tightened. And then second, like I said earlier, paid ads are now in map results too. So not only can you get Google ads at the top, but now in the map section, there's also paid results. And then third, Google Home Services, aka LSA, is now live in most major markets. And there is an advanced verification process. If anyone's familiar, if you're not, I can of course talk to you after the meeting about that. But there is a lot more real estate that is covering page 1 of Google. And so here's some comparisons so you can just see what that looks like. Before, 7 listings, now just 3. Paid ads, this is how it looks like. That's the Google guaranteed. This is an example for plumbers serving Los Angeles. You see Rooter Guard, Expert Plumbing, Rooterman Plumbing, the Google guaranteed. This is the verification process that I was talking about earlier. Paid ads and actual Google Maps results. And so, all in all, now you have, again, home service ads, Google My Business, Google Ads, Google SEO, and it's getting more and more difficult to compete and stand out. And so if you're unfamiliar with the local service ads that I mentioned earlier, if you want, you can sign up for local service ads here, and one of my team members can, Rija, if you can add this to the chat. This is just for anyone who wants to sign up for local service ads. It's a process that can take a few weeks, but if you're not eligible, then you might have to try again in the future. But that's the link to try it out. Okay, so for us, the goal for you will be to dominate and own the search results. How can you get placements in all spots? Home services, map listings, third-party listings such as Angie's List and Yext, organic listings. And this is what it could look like. So if you type in HVAC Burke, one of our clients, you see them at the top of the Google Maps, and you see that they have 2 spots on the Google organic section. The only company that's there aside from them, which is not really a local company, is Yelp. But you can see here, DM Select Services #1 with 465 reviews. And then you see number 2 and number 3. This is their same website. This is the home page, and this is their location page. So it is possible in today's age, even with the competition, to beat out a lot of the other contractors who are vying for the space. And one other thing that's changed recently is that in the past, because Google Maps was such a valuable piece of real estate on Google, there are a lot of folks who are in the SEO space who were abusing the listings. And what do I mean by that? They were creating listings for businesses in areas that they were not actually in. And so Google cracked down hard on this. There was a lot of abuse by SEOs and service companies. And so since 2015, there's been a reduction of 70% in fake listings. So you might have seen one of this in the past, or you might have run into it. Being in the digital marketing circles, it was very prevalent, and it was something that was sold, and it really is frowned upon nowadays. And you're really going to get dinged hard if you buy into something like this. But that's one of the changes. But now let's move on to how about what could be hurting your rankings on maps? Because there's all these changes. There's lots of places you get real estate. And so your question might be, why am I not showing up on Google Maps? I might have done everything right. I might have not done anything black hat in the past. And so what might be hurting your rankings? And so here's 5 items that you might want to look into. The first item is if you're not showing up on Google Maps Potentially, it has to do with you not actually having an office in the city that you're looking to target. The way that Google Maps is working nowadays is that when a searcher looks for a business in their area, they're geolocating their area, and then they are showing up websites that or businesses that are close to that person who's searching. And so if you're not within that city, if you're 50, 100 miles away, of course you're not going to rank in Google Maps because you need an office, whether it's a satellite office that you set up. We don't recommend doing anything like a PO box or a UPS store address, but if you can actually set up a satellite office, that's going to be one way you can get a listing on Google Maps. Number two, what could be hurting your rankings is, did you try to spam Google in the past with fake locations? And the way this can hurt you now is that if you had one Google My Business profile and then you had multiple Google My Business listings underneath it, if one of those profiles was ever blacklisted by Google and that was underneath your primary account, then all of your other accounts can be impacted as well. Additionally, if you've worked with a company in the past, if they did something wrong to one of their other listings and everything's contained within their master account, that's also going to impact you because Google, once they look with a critical eye on one of the locations, they're going to look at the master account and all of the other ones. And so this is something that you might not even be aware of could be hurting your rankings. Number three, inconsistent name, address, phone number profile. And this is a very easy one to fix, but this is something that hurts a lot of businesses that we run into. If you have a DBA for your business, or maybe you acquired or you sold a business in the past and changed your name, or maybe you have multiple tracking phone numbers, or maybe you shifted offices, having inconsistent name, addresses, and phone numbers across the web for your business can cause some serious issues because Google uses this as a credibility factor to know that, hey, you are who you say you are, and having it very consistent across all those profiles is something that's key. And if you don't have it, that's hurting you. Number four, did you spam your city and company name or categories? And what I mean by that is what people used to do, and this did work in the past, is that they would change their name on Google My Business. So let's say my company name is John HVAC. If I was an HVAC contractor and I wanted to rank for some, let's say I want to expand into plumbing and I want to rank for plumbing keywords, I might change my name on Google My Business to John's HVAC and Plumbing, even though that's not my official name. So, I was trying to add keywords into my business name so I can rank higher. And that used to work, but it doesn't work anymore. And so if you're caught doing things like that, your listing can get dinged. And then fifth item that hurts a lot of contractors and ranking on maps, and this is an easy one if you have the systems in place, and it has to do with getting enough reviews across the web. Getting genuine reviews from customers who you might have serviced. Maybe you've done an installation for them. Maybe you just came in for a free estimate. Getting reviews from those people on your Google listing is key. And of course, they have to be positive ones, but getting those positive reviews is going to impact your rankings. One thing we've seen in the past, which we don't think you should do, is you can also buy reviews. There's companies that provide that as a service. Don't recommend that. It's a poor foundation to build your business off of. And anyways, you could just ask your current customers, and increasing that number of reviews could just be a matter of sending a blast email out to all the people you serviced in the past. So those are 5 potential issues hurting your rankings on maps. And so what's the solution? So what can you do to, knowing some of the problems, what are some of the things you can do today and into the near future on getting yourself ranked in the 3-pack? And so for the entirety of this formula, I'm going to start off with what works in a low to medium competition market. And then I'll also go over what you're going to need to do that's more advanced to rank in more competitive markets. But we'll start off with this proven formula to rank in low to medium markets. And the 4 components are going to be the network, the citation development. It's going to be your Google My Business, your on-page SEO, and then the reviews. And I'll explain this more into detail once we get to the later slides. Okay, so let's start with the first item, which is claiming and optimizing your Google My Business listing. Uh, if you don't already have this, this is going to be your action item for today. Having your Google My Business listing claimed, this is, you need this, because if you don't have control over it, someone else could potentially take control over it, and you're just not maximizing your online presence. And so one thing, I want to make sure for you to do is to check a login, maybe to Gmail account, maybe you have G Suite, see what is tied to your Google My Business account. You want to update your company name to read company name. Don't add in additional keywords. Make it, based whatever your business name is on your legal documents, or maybe it's your DBA. Actually list that as your company name. Number three, adding a website address. Once you have this set up, you want to have that URL. It's really important to actually ranking your website. Ranking your Google listing to actually have a website. Number four, to use a local number. So, you can get 1-800 numbers, but they don't really do the trick specifically for your GMB listing. Let's say that you're in Alexandria, Virginia, like myself, you would want to use a phone number like 703 or 571, which is local to our area. So you'll want to make sure to do that. Number five, using a local address. Ideally, if you're trying to target a city, you want your address to have that city in the address. And you really don't want to use a PO box or UPS store. These used to work in the past, not working as much anymore. So really would avoid any of those. And then lastly, add in your hours of operation, services offered, and a description of your business. So, these are all things that, are basic things that you'll want to make sure to cover. And after you've covered this, then you can get more nuanced with your strategy. But that'll be that. Aside from that, once you have the foundation built, one thing that is fantastic for helping your Google My Business listing rank is to upload photos. Upload photos of the owner, of your staff, of your office, of your trucks, of any equipment, logo, pictures of your work, coupons. And the ninja hack that I like to share with people is, if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android, whatever mobile phone you have, take a picture with it in the area that you want to rank in. So, let's say, for example, you are in San Diego, California, and you take a photo at the job of, your completed work, the customer is happy. And then you upload that to your Google My Business profile. One thing you don't know is that when you take a photo with your phone, it actually picks up the coordinates, the latitude and longitude of where you're at. And once you upload that to Google, they see that location data, and that helps your listing get boosted up in the ranks. And so, have all the photos you can get, take photos in the location that you're based in. This is not only going to help you with their rankings, but also, as I wrote here for the last line, people connect and they resonate with people. They connect with a genuine business. They don't want to just see a business with no photos. It makes you suspect if you have no photos of your business. Like, do you actually exist? Even if you've been around for 15, 20, 25 years, if the new business front is your online presence and your Google My Business. And so if you have nothing there, it's very comparable to having an office. It's completely empty, no staff, and it just looks a bit strange. And so you'll want to make sure to have those photos of your entire team and all your equipment included on your listing. And also, once you have that in place, there is a lot of useful information that you can find in your Google My Business listing. There's a tab, once you log in, you click on Insights, and you can see, how many people have found you on search or on Google Maps. And it's crazy what you can see. So for 1 month, and this is DM Select Services, one of their listings, they had 4.45 thousand views just for this one location. They have multiple locations. And also on the right, this is just for a month, and we were just capturing some of the specific actions taken on their listing. They had 123 visits to the website. 6 people requested directions. I know most contractors don't want people going to wherever they're at, but people did click on that if you want that data. And there was also calls coming in. There was 98 phone calls just for this one listing. And again, they have multiple listings that we had set up because they do have satellite offices. So very valuable insights. And some other best practices, once you have the data, you're looking at it, you got the foundation set up, here's what you'll be doing on an ongoing basis to maintain strong rankings for your Google My Business. So you want to update your photos. Let's say you have photos, but they're 2 years old. You want to update them and add to them on a consistent basis. Number two, there's something called Google Posts. It's like Google is developing their own social media profiles for businesses. But what you can do is you can make posts about your business on maybe it's a new offer, maybe you're doing a tune-up, maybe you're offering some special for the winner. If you post on Google Posts, this also creates engagement and additional visibility, and that'll also help your ranking. So make sure to do that. Number three, respond to reviews. And this goes for whether they're positive or negative. Having engagement with your customers, whether it's a positive review, thanking them for trusting you with the business, or maybe if it's negative, this is something that you want to address from a customer service front. You'll want to reach out and show that you're a business that is responsive to any complaints from your customers. And so that's helpful from, again, a CSR perspective and also a Google ranking perspective. And then lastly, answer any questions that get posted. People can ask questions to your business. So maybe they might ask things such as, hey, how much does it cost to get an estimate? Or, hey, how long does it take for an installation to happen? Or how often should I, get routine work on my HVAC system? So, those will be posted on your Google My Business profile. You want to reply, you want to be engaged with the community. This is going to help you to increase the rankings, but also, build back into the community that you are looking to serve. Okay, and so that's pillar number one, Google My Business. Number two is going to be building citations and consistency with NAP. And NAP, this is not a siesta. This is not you going to bed for 20 minutes, tired after a long day. NAP is what we mentioned earlier. This is the name, address, and phone number. So, a citation, this is just a website where you can list your business information. And there are many sites like this all around the internet. And what Google does is that they take a look at all the places that your business is listed and sees like, oh, do they exist in these places? Are they reputable? Because if they're reputable, they'd be in all these places. And is the information consistent? Because if so, then yes, we're all talking about the same entity, which is, say, it's John's HVAC. And so you have lots of citations. You want to be on all those citations, and you can take a screenshot of this photo if you want to see, like, you want to list it out what those are. But once you have that, again, consistent reference of the NAP, and also looking to eliminate any duplicate or incorrect business information. You might have consistent information all around, but let's say that, I don't know, maybe you had another company or maybe your admin staff, they might have set up a profile for you. And now you have 3 Facebook accounts and, they're all slightly different. Well, you don't really want that. You want to eliminate the duplicates. Or maybe you have, maybe you had an SEO company and they worked on your Google My Business profiles and now you have duplicate. That's an issue. We've run into this issue in the past with some of our clients where somehow there's other accounts, Google My Business accounts that are created. You'll want to merge those together, eliminate any duplicates. So, Google's not confused about who you are and what entities represent you. In the previous one, I showed you all these citations, but here is a ninja hack that you can keep in mind. And a lot of people don't know this, but even though you might want to fill your information out on all these websites, there's actually a select group of sites that are what we like to call aggregators. And an aggregator, what they do is that they aggregate or they gather a bunch of information all at the same time and they distribute it out. So instead of having to go to, let's say, all 300 online search sites, you can just focus on the key aggregators, make sure information is correct there, and then they'll pass that information out to the other online search sites. So ninja hack, I hope my SEO team is not mad I'm sharing this, but look at these sites: Factual, Axiom, Info Group, New Star. Pay attention to these. These are the ones that over 300 other online search sites are looking at, or they're getting their information from. So that's a ninja hack. And then third is that there's another ninja hack where you can fill out everything manually, but there's also tools that exist online that will allow you to automatically input your information without having to do the manual work of the mindless numbing work of typing in and modifying everything. There's tools like Bright Local, Yext, Moz Local, Whitespark, Advice Local, and these tools allow you to change your information across, let's say 50, 100, 150 profiles all at once, because they have direct integrations with those services. So another ninja hack for you if you want to automate and systemize this entire process versus doing every small little thing for your company. And so with all that said, and this is not the end of the presentation, this is just a quick segue. If you are curious about your consistency and your accuracy check, feel free to give me an email. We have a tool that can automatically check your profiles, and this is how it would look like. It can show you if you have accurate or inaccurate listings, if the issues with the name, the address, or phone number. We can do that complimentary. No worries. Just drop me an email, and we can take care of that for you. So yeah, email. I think most of you have my email, john@polianna.net for to do that. Okay, so to wrap it up, for citations, best practices, here's 4. First, the one you have to manually claim is the Google My Business. So definitely do that. Number 2, you can use a tool like Yext, and they have direct API access to 50 of the top citation listings. Simplify your life. There is a fee for that, but think about your dollar per hour time. If you're getting paid $150, $200 an hour, depending on the job that you're doing, you don't want to be doing that $150, $200 of your time just editing listings. Like, you don't want to do that. So use a tool like Yext. Tip number 3, get listed in the major data aggregators. There were 4. That make sure you took a screenshot of that, and I'll go back if you want to make sure to grab that. Let me get that for you. So Factual, Axiom, Info Group, and New Star. Take a screenshot of that. Those are the aggregators that you want to focus on. And then lastly is to leverage some of the other tools that Yext right here. Yext integrates to 50, but there's other tools such as Whitespark and Bright Local Citation Finder that can get you additional citations that are niche specific. So, the citations for a dentist, you don't want to get the citations for a dentist. You want to, get the major ones, let's say the top 50, but then you want to get the niche specific ones for HVAC, plumbing, roofing, whatever home service business that you own. So those are some of the best practices that you could check out. And if you want to see, just because this is a presentation for HVAC and plumbing companies, I'll also share with you, here are some of the top citations for you. And if you want to take a screenshot of this as well, feel free to. There's networks, there's contractors.com, fixer.com, build Zoom, best plumbers. Not going to read off all of these, but these are the ones that you want to be listed in. And some of them are free, some of them are paid. Even if they are paid, I'd still recommend that you make the investment, because the return on investment you'll actually get from your Google Maps listing will far outseed the $9 a year that you might have spent on some of these platforms. So feel free to screenshot that. Hopefully the SEO team on our end is not too mad that we're sharing some of this, but yeah, hope you all enjoy that. So, but also we do have a list of the citations. So if you are looking to grab those, again, send me an email. If you want the free audit, if you want to look at the citations, just drop me an email and we'll get that sent over to you. Okay, so we talked about the first 2 pillars. We got 2 more. Pillar number 3 is getting lots of real reviews. So for reviews, here's on the left-hand side, you can see that, this is, again, our client DM Select Services. They have 465 reviews. They have a 4.9 average. You can see their category, heating contractor. They have their address, and they have their phone number, and this is local, 703. So the issue that I see is that in a company, there isn't a process that has been developed to capture reviews. Let's say you take a service call, maybe you get the work done, you shake hands, get paid, and then there's no process where you ask the customer, hey, how do we do? Would love for you to leave us a review. Reviews are how we grow our business. We'd love for you to share your experience with potential customers online. There's a missing gap in the process. And so if you're interested in some of those ideas of how you can build that into your process, here's 5. The first is to, number 1, leverage tools to request a review after every service call. I don't expect you to pull out your phone and, to manually request a review. There are tools that are out there that can automate that process. And so, that's the first, and I'll share some of those later, but that'll be the first thing. Number 2, you can go to a printer and you can print out a review card just that says, hey, this is John of John's HVAC. Thank you for trusting us with your business. Please visit this URL to leave us a review. So, that would be a second strategy. Number 3, this is training for your technicians. And so, there's a concept in something called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, of seeding the vision for the future. And what that means is that you talk about what's going to happen in the future before it happens, so that when someone is in a sales situation, they're not surprised by it when it actually happens. So one thing that you can do is to train your technicians to plant the seed. They can say something along the lines of, hey, we're here today. We're here to install a new AC. If we are able to do a great job for you, would you be willing to leave us a review? The customer might say, oh, yeah, if you do a great job, of course I'll leave a review. And then now you can go into agreement and say, hey, that would be awesome. Would love to have your review at the end, if we deliver the service that you're looking for. And then that's the beginning. And at the end, you'll want to have your technician to now ask again, like, hey, how do we do on our service? And if the customer says, oh, no, it was great, loved the work. Now's the time you can ask again, like, hey, you remember what we said earlier? Could you leave us a review? Reviews are the lifeblood of our business. We'd love for you to share your experience. So that will be strategy number 3. Number 4, this is more of a manual process, but if you do have team, an admin team who can help make these calls, it'd be great if let's say that the technicians are not able to get the review, you can have someone on your team make a call after the service just to walk them through the review process, because maybe someone might be confused. They might not know how to get to their Google My Business, or they have to sign in or create an account. It's worth it to take that extra 5 to 10 minutes to do that, to get the review. So you might have to do that. That's an idea. And then 5th is you have to build reviews and recognition into your company culture. If within your culture, it is a norm to ask for reviews and to strive for an excellent customer experience, reviews are going to naturally flow from that. But if in the company culture, if you don't support it, if there's no incentives around it, it's not going to happen, because what you incentivize is the types of things, the behaviors that you'll get, whether that is actual direct compensation, or maybe it might just be recognition of someone who did that for the company, since it does build into the bigger goal. So few strategies for driving those consistent reviews. And like I promised earlier, lots of tools that you can use. Here's a list of 5 of them that you can use. There is Nearby Now Home Services, Bird Eye, Service Titan, which I'm sure many of you have received ads for in the past, Review Buzz, and Customer Lobby. And these are great tools for review automation. Some of these do more than review automation, but here's a few of them. And also, I will share that Polianna, we have licensed our own review automation software. We've customized it, so that's we didn't put ourselves on here, but we also have that set up for some of our clients. Okay, so that was pillar number 3. Pillar number 4, and this is the last of the 4 pillars for low to medium competition. And this is going to be your on-page optimization. People think that they have this Google Maps listing and it has nothing to do with how your actual website is optimized. But it's actually not the case. They're both interrelated. The way that you optimize your Google Maps listing can be impacted by your website. And so you'll want to get this straight. And so, we're not going to have a masterclass on, and this can be a future presentation on on-page optimization, but the key things you'll just want to make sure to remember for your on-page optimization is, number 1, when you have a title on your web page, you want to make sure that it includes the location you're looking to target and the keywords you're looking to target. So if you'll notice here, HVAC Burke, this is in the title. This page also ranks, in the top 3 spots of Google. It's not an accident that happened. It's not an accident. So that's one thing you want to do. The second thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you include your name, address, and phone number on the page you are looking to rank. So you can see here we have DM Select Services, name of the business. We have the address, and then we have the phone number. The additional secret ninja hack that I don't have listed here, but I also share with you is that if you implement something called schema, SCHEMA, you'll probably need someone who is familiar with code to set this up for you. But if you implement local business schema on your website, on the page you're looking to rank, that is pretty key to helping your website rank higher on Google Maps and also organic search. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's it. So that's the proven formula for getting ranked in the 3-pack for low to medium competition cities. But now let's move on to the new 2021 SEO formula for competing in medium to very competitive areas, which is where we're competing on a daily basis. So covering everything we did in the past. Again, Google My Business listing, done. Lots of citations, done. Online reviews, done. Those are the 3 that we've already done. But the next 2, which are key to 2021, is building authoritative links back to your website from other websites, aka backlinking. And then number 2, strategic content syndication. The big change that we're seeing is that just posting a blog on your website is not going to cut it anymore, but Google is looking for something more. And this is what we're calling the new authority signal generation approach. And this is what's part of the more competitive packages when you're actually really going after a competitive market. So the change with Google is that they're looking for something called EAT. EAT, not in like, hey, I'm about to eat some dinner or some tacos, but EAT as an acronym to achieve search visibility. And what does this acronym stand for? EAT stands for expertise, authority, trust. What does that mean? Expertise, number 1, quality, structured, and media-rich content. In the past, people have been spamming lots of blog articles out there. What's difficult is to create high-quality content that has, rich media, such as videos or images that are unique. So that expertise component is getting more difficult to fake that. That's what Google is looking for, expertise. The A, authority. Are you getting published on some reputable websites? So, there's platforms out there to get you distributed out onto some pretty high visibility sites like ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, depending on your political leanings. To get out there, that authority, that's pretty key for the search algorithm. And then number 3, trust. Not only are we talking about these big news sites, but how about the niche specific sites? Sites like ACA or PHCC or QSC, Quality Service Contractors. There's other sites and associations and other potential business partners in this space that have trusted websites. Are you guys, do you have connection to those sites via the internet? Those are passing trust for the new 2021, things that Google is looking for. And so there's a lot that goes into it, right? If you're really going to get competitive when it comes to SEO, uh, you know, for the things we talked about, the 4 pillars, if you're in a low to medium competition market, you can wipe the floor with competition, because 90% of 90% of local businesses, and I dare say many digital marketing companies, don't even know a lot of that material. And so you can wipe the floor, low to medium competition. But if you're in a bigger market, you're looking to really compete. You need to bring, stronger, stronger expertise. One of the funny things that I was on a sales call yesterday. This was with a friend. Yeah, I was actually signing up for fitness coaching. It was just kind of random, but so he was talking about how you need to have the right tools in order to succeed. And so imagine that you were hunting a deer, and for hunting the deer, you had a water gun. It could be, a super soaker. It can be one of the best, water guns out on the market. But if you're hunting a deer, this super soaker, no matter how cool it is, you're not going to be able to take down the deer with a water gun. You need the right tools. And so when it comes to competitive markets, you can't use a super soaker. You need an actual hunting rifle to accomplish what you're trying to do. And so when it comes to advanced SEO, these are things that you'll want to look into. We can't go over all of these right now, but this is for that 20% that really will take you over the threshold of really killing it when it comes to SEO. And so just a few of these items, quality, research, crawl, keywords, mobile optimization, freshness of your content, duplicate content, descriptions, titles. Not going to read over this, but here, just high level toxins. There are things that will impact your rankings, and emerging fields that are coming out. So like voice search, video, image search, local search, a lot that's going on. And you'll want to screenshot this just so that you have this, in your back pocket. You don't have to research it and understand every term, but these are some of the things you want to look at once you get to be, once you really want to compete for some of those very difficult keywords. Okay, so aside from that, I will break down some of those factors. The page quality rating factors. Google is looking at the purpose of the page, and you can indicate this with the title, the description, the headers. The EAT, so expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. Again, want to reinforce how important this is. Main content quality and amount. Whatever you write should actually be good content. It can't just be something that was, just drafted up by, maybe it's someone who might not have as strong English, or maybe it's by someone who, they just don't understand the field as well, or there's not a high enough quality writer. You want to have that at a high enough level, because that does impact your page quality rating factors. Number 4, website information about who is publishing the content. So Google is now wanting to tie entities to content that's being produced, because what happened in the past is that people would produce fake entities, non-real people that would create content, and that was kind of bonkers, because it's not just the content, but it's who wrote it that is important too. What's the veracity of this person? What's their trustworthiness as an actual individual? So Google's looking at that now. And also just your website reputation. Who is responsible for this? Not only is the person, but what other websites are you associated with? Are you associated with sketchy characters? Are you associated with people who are trusted? I mean, it's the same with your friends, right? You want to associate with good, positive, uplifting people, because that also helps you, and also indicates that, hey, you're probably that way too. And if you're hanging out with, more sketchy characters, that's probably going to be not as great. So yeah, some of the page quality rating factors for 2021. And so specifically to local SEO, since we are focusing more on local markets, there's 3 factors that you'll also want to consider, that, and some of these are out of your control, but you want to be aware of them. Number 1, this is proximity. So I mentioned this at the start of the presentation, but where someone is searching for a keyword, let's say, again, let's do San Diego. So let's say someone's in San Diego, their IP can be detected by a search engine. And so based off of where they are, that can modify what search results are going to show up for them, because Google is taking a hyper local approach. Remember, you can get the coordinates from photos. Google can also take that from your coordinates and your content. And maybe you use DuckDuckGo, so you don't have that. But how about your customers? Where are they and what do they do? So that's an important factor to know, proximity. Number two, how relevant is the search term for the business? If you have a website and yes, you are, let's say, an HVAC company, but you don't talk about anything that is relevant to your services, Google's not going to connect the dots. Google is a machine. It's run by people, it's coded by people, but it's a machine, it's a program. And so you want to make it very clear that number one, you're about this topic and keyword. And number two, that matches with the words you say on your website. And so everything we talked about today, having keywords in your Google My Business, having it in your titles, having it in your description, having it in your photos, having location signals, such as the photos that you took, the coordinates, that's telling Google, it's sending signals saying, hey, we are based here. We are relevant for these keywords. And then number three, prominence. This is just wrapping everything up for local search. Authority for the local business. We got our EAT profile, not eat like dinner, eats, expertise, authority, trustworthiness. And that also, we got eats, we got brand mentions, link signals, number of reviews, and all of these things. This is what is encompassed in special local SEO in 2021. So with that, this is the wrap-up slide. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you got the on page, the Google My Business, ongoing content, signals leveraged. This will be your roadmap for the 2021 SEO formula. And this condenses a lot of what we talked about today into one digestible slide. So yeah, feel free to screenshot that, and we'll have a recording of this at the end if you want to check it out once we get that published. But yeah, that's about it for today. So as we close out, I'll open it to questions after this, but I did want to invite you, if you are seeing this, and thank you everyone who's attending, but if you are interested in seeing how this applies directly to your business, we can analyze your online visibility. We can identify a custom keyword list to your market and your keywords, do ranking reports, analyze your directory listings and consistency, look at your reviews and reputation, your online presence, website conversion. We are currently open to doing lead flow acceleration sessions. And so, if you send me an email, if you call the phone number on the screen, very happy to prepare that. And it does take a few hours to set that up. And so my one ask is that if you do schedule it, please attend. This will be valuable to you no matter what you do. But yeah, that's about it. Again, our mission is to triple the sales of 1,000 HVAC and plumbing companies. The way that we're going to do that is by providing education, like on webinars like this, to make sure that you're up to date with the latest trends. But also, it is to to work directly with folks if the opportunity makes sense, to help you grow in a way that we otherwise might not be able to from a educational standpoint. So yeah, that's about it. So I know that's a lot, so I just want to ask if there's any questions before we close up for the day. Happy to take a look at anyone's websites or answer any questions from today's presentation that might be specific to your business. And feel free to unmute yourself. You can add in a question in the chat. Feel free to add something in. And let me do this. I do have a soundboard here, so let me know if you hear this. We'll we'll put a quick little clock. If anyone has anything. Hey, no problem, K. Lordy. Appreciate you for attending. Anyone else? Any other questions or things you might be wondering about? And one thing I can say is, a number of folks will ask me questions about their Google My Business listing, and maybe I can go over some common questions that I get. How long does it take to rank on Google My Business? Again, it really depends. It really depends based off of where you're currently placed, how long your website has been around, and how much you've established with your SEO in the past, and if that SEO was good. So you can see, if you're already on the top 10 positions, you could see results in as little as 30 to 60 days in terms of improvements. But if you have a brand new profile, you're in a very competitive city, you're kind of moving slow in terms of what you're doing through SEO. It can take 6, 12 months, and sometimes it can take, you can never rank, because the speed of which your competitors are moving for their SEO far exceeds what you're doing. So that's why it's always such a loaded question to ask, like, hey, how long does it take to rank? It really depends based off of where you're at, your competition, and what you're doing. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention there. For some other questions, some other common questions that we get around Google Maps. We get the question, do paid ads impact your position on Google? There's the organic section where you're not paying to play. You just, by nature of how well you optimize your website, you're showing up. And people ask, like, hey, if I pay for ads, does that help my SEO? And the answer is that slightly. There's factors specific to SEO and organic SEO that is different from paid ads. But what you get from paid ads is that you're getting targeted users to your website for relevant keywords, and you're getting engagement on your website. And so while it's not going to rank you number 1 in the next 30 days, you're sending signals to Google that, hey, I'm relevant for these terms. People from this area are searching and they're engaged and they're calling. And so the answer is that it impacts it, but it's not the 100% solution. Number 3, what other questions that we get around SEO? Another question that we get around SEO has to do with black hat versus white hat SEO, because you probably maybe you're not familiar, but there's black hat and white hat SEO. White hat is doing things that are within terms of service of Google. Black hat is doing things that are outside the terms of service that you can get away with, but maybe it won't last forever. So there is a difference depending on what you want. Black hat SEO, you can get results pretty quickly depending on how you use it. But if you get caught doing one of those things, you can lose your listing altogether. So it's a trade-off. On our end, we like to think more for the long term, so more white hat. So that's some of the things that we like to consider. But yeah, so I don't think I got any other questions. Does anyone have anything that they want to discuss? If not, then I think we will wrap up for the day. So thanks so much. It is right in the hour. I appreciate you for taking the time to work together on your business today. I appreciate you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to book a free strategy session. Happy to take a look at your website and your market. And yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting. So next webinar, I will share that is we have a joint partnership webinar with a business broker. And so they actually help sell HVAC and plumbing companies. So if you're interested in how to set up your business to be sold in the future, what sorts of numbers are they looking for in terms of profitability? Maybe it's revenue per employee. What numbers are they looking for to sell your business at the multiple you're looking for? You'll want to be on this webinar because they'll be going over exactly what it is they're looking for. So that's about it. Thanks so much. I appreciate you for attending, and I will catch you in the next webinar. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.